Well, everybody wants to have the yard and garden that's the envy of the neighborhood, and every month our buddy Perry from Classic Landscapes in Ellerslie Gift and Garden drops by with some great tips and tricks. Normally we talk about gardening and growing, that kind of thing, but I guess you also want to be the envy of the neighborhood when it comes to your lights.
Yeah, lighting especially is getting super popular, but you know, we always struggle this time of year with, when do we start playing Christmas music and when do we get out to hang the lights, right? And it can be a hassle. Obviously, we're sort of used to the string lights, you know, they're in a big ball of a mess and some bulbs are burnt out. So there's kind of a new line of, yeah, it's a real cool LED light actually. And the cool thing about LED, as we know, is it requires less power. In fact, 100 of these lights is the same as a 75-watt bulb. So really cool, and they actually, as you can see, you can get it matched right to the soffit of your house, and so it actually gets installed just under the soffit, so when you're not using them.
So this is permanent then?
Permanent.
So you never have to change Christmas lights again?
That's exactly right. So
that's
you just
amazing.
do it once. And the really cool part about it, when we move forward with technology, obviously the installations are, like you mentioned, permanent, but we actually can use, I brought the iPad here today. And so we have iPads where it has a program, there's an app right on it, and as you can see, I can just scroll through the difference, and you can see how the lights change.
That is so cool.
And
this is like the high-level bridge right here.
It's the high-level bridge on your house. That's exactly right. And I can even adjust the brightness and things like that. And you can see it's a really simple app. As I scroll through, there's all these kind of different pre-programming. So the interesting part is you can just program this. You can program it to set at different times. So if you're away and you want some security in your house, a lot of times we think about this in terms of being super festive. And there's no question, as you know, I've kind of flashing this Halloween pattern, that you can do those sorts of things. But it's also good for security and things like that, like we would use for other pot lights. And I mean, you can even go big with Oilers game day if you want, like we're doing today. And you know, we crashed it on the tower here. We've got blue and orange. There's even some of the tie-ins with Wi-Fi and things that we're seeing people can do. You could even hook it up so that as the Oilers score, all the lights in your house go red and stuff. And so, I mean, not everybody has to do that, but the idea is that there's some really cool things you can do with lights. You're not up and down with ladders, being unsafe at crazy times of year. And again, it can look really cool, but, you know, fits much more in with the technology.
And you know, when you come to shopping, we haven't discussed this, I'm assuming they're pricey, but like we say, they're permanent, right? So, you know, you're not going to burn bulbs out and you're not going to have to change things, and talk about versatility.
Yeah, and that's the key, right? I mean, the thing about this is that you'll get, generally speaking, you know, if you go 5 or 6 hours a day, which would be a lot probably for most people, but you know, you could get 20 years out of these, roughly speaking. And so the LED lights last a long time. Again, we talked about the power consumption is a lot lower. You know, and so it's just really cool. And, you know, the technology as it develops, you know, something where the pricing's coming down, it's becoming really affordable for people when we talk about it in terms of, like, again, these permanent installations, and you can add it to new homes or what have you. So they're just really cool.
Is it something that the average handy person, let's call them handy person, I don't want to say the average person, is able to install themselves, or do you need a pro for this?
Yeah, well, you know, here I brought actually another little sample of a light. So this is typically what people would see, and this isn't what we have in this installation, but you normally have a light that looks similar, like, you know, this. A lot of people would recognize it as being something maybe like a hot tub light, looks similar. But as you can see, you know, there's one connection per light. And so you can imagine over a couple hundred feet of house, you know, you got a couple hundred connections. And so what ends up happening is you get some failures with these. And now these are really easy to use, but you can see there's copper inside, and over the years some of that can degrade and it causes problems. So this is something that people would be typically doing themselves. So what we do with these installations, we actually solder them. And actually I got another sample here. But you can see with this light, we actually solder and heat shrink them so that they're more durable. This light is actually rated for minus 55 degrees Celsius, so there's no concerns with our temperatures.
That should cover us, yeah.
That should cover us. Please, Mike, let it cover us. As you can see, it's, you know, a really, you know, high quality light. And if you grab it, if you want to reach it and sort of pinch it and stuff, you can see, you know, very waterproof and no issues with the elements. And so, you know, I'm not going to take a hammer to it, but I could if I wanted. Again, the durability's there, the low power's there, so all these things are great when we talk about installations that, when we talk about permanent, I think people throw that around a bit just to, you know, kind of as like, you know, punchline almost, but these really are something that can last and be durable and be a lot of fun, as we can see with the apps.
How brand new is this? Like, is it common? Are we going to see these? I mean, is this something that's just being introduced?
It is definitely newer, and the technology is advancing to the point where we're seeing issues where every year in cold temperatures like this, it's really successful. It's big in the States, obviously, with some of the issues with the winters and things. We've overcome that with the way we install them. It can be pretty awesome.
All right, thanks, Perry. Very cool. For more great ideas on how to make your yard and your house the showpiece of the neighborhood, we've got Ellerslie Gift and Garden. There's their phone number, and then across the street is Classic Landscapes. You can reach reach them at classiclandscapes.com. Stay with us. We continue on Global News Morning right after this break.